Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our final roadmap webinar. And today we're talking about planning and evaluation. And today we have with us Carly Delsigne from the North Jefferson County Library District. And we have Alissa Wolenetz from the Lewistown Public Library. And they're going to be sharing their experiences with some different facets of the planning and evaluation topic. Carly is going to be sharing the way that she and her board were collecting data to inform their planning. And then Alissa is going to share the way that she made the way that she was sharing the data with her decision makers in an engaging way that I think is really inspiring. So we're going to hear from them, and then we are going to finish up with some resources here at the State Library that can help you make the best of your planning and evaluation process. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Carly.
So first of all, thank you to the State Library for putting this together. And thank you for everybody who took time out of their day to come to a webinar. If you have questions, please feel free to ask as we go, because I would like to talk about what you'd like to talk about. I would also like to plug the State Library and their resources as far as planning and just advice and help with navigating whatever it is that you're needing to navigate. They have a lot of collective wisdom, tools, resources that are hugely helpful. So I'm from the North Jefferson County Library District. We have the Clancy Library and the Montana City Library. It's a little over 6,000 people that are in our service area. We only have census designated places. There's no formal organized structure. There are 5 communities, but 3 large communities. And we're a bedroom community, a bedroom area for Helena. So a lot of our patrons and a lot of our focus is pointed toward Helena. We have kids that go into Boulder for Jefferson High School. We have kids that go into Helena High School. We have kids that go into Capitol High, which is in Helena. And then we have kids that go into East Helena. So it's kind of a tough service area because people are facing outward into other communities rather than into our community. And we had, I don't know, a very dedicated and loud minority that was, I think, kind of warping our vision of what we were and where we were going and what the problems were. And our board very wisely chose to do a community survey to help inform where we were at and what the vision should be and where we should go from here. And in order to, I think, part of it was to legitimize the survey, but part of it was help with the front end and back end of the survey. So like preparing for educating our board, helping us become a team and have a unified plan going forward. You know, this is how this will work. And then afterward, a strategy session and developing a 2 or 3 year long-term, isn't that long, but long-term plan. We asked the Montana Government Center to come and help us. And so they did, and they helped us put together a community survey. And we put that out to our community, both digitally and in paper form. And we were really surprised and pleased with the results. I was nervous about this process. I was nervous about what our communities thought of us. We were, I guess, suffering from, I think it's siege mentality or whatever, where we thought that there would be big things to handle once the survey came back. And it turned out that people loved us. And the small minority that was very loud and writing letters to the Boulder newspaper and the Helen IR and showing up to meetings were significantly outnumbered by the positive things. So we learned a lot about where we were. We weren't where we thought we were, and about what our communities valued. A lot of our trustees were very focused, and I think it's important to focus on the future and what future library services look like. Do you have the second page of that that shows the survey results? I'm really sorry.
Oh, I
Anyway,
thought that I could pull it up.
oh, that would be wonderful. Our patrons did value and did want the digital services increased, but it was resounding that they valued the physical resources too. And our board had been very concerned about our programming and where our programming was at. And our communities valued the programming. It wasn't as though they didn't, but they were very loud about appreciating the community service and the community knowledge. How the library provided a hub to figure out what was going on and where the resources were. And that was good to know. It was that's an important part of how we serve them. So I would be most happy. I sent the survey to Kara. So Kara, do you know who's on? Can you send out the survey to people? Was it Austin? Sorry, my chat blocks my screen. I think it was Austin that wanted a copy, but if other people want a copy of the survey, you're welcome to it. It was tailored to us, so the questions might not apply to you, but sorry, do you have the second one with the results from the survey?
I had this document and the one that showed it was like the fact sheet. Those were
Yes, and it's the second page of the fact sheet that I'm looking for. Sorry. Do you want me to resend it to you quick? Sorry, it isn't that important for
Oh, okay.
everybody else,
Yeah.
but it was important for us because we were kind of mishitting where we thought we were and where we thought our communities were. Yes, that's the one. Thank you. Sorry about that. So the results about the physical library services was a good thing for our board to hear. We obviously in Montana are a little behind the curve as far as the changes and the trends, but this was a good thing to understand that the physical services are still important to people. The um, the commission for the county is basically who runs things. And in Boulder, there's no problem with getting internet. Internet is very cheap and there's lots of internet providers. On the north end, it's very difficult to get internet. It's expensive in a lot of places. It just isn't available. And so when we talk to the commission about those things, they aren't as receptive. This was very helpful for, if you look at number 11, areas of improvement, for us to say there were 3 areas that people ranked as being the most important. And one of them was computers and improved online access. And we do have people, a significant portion of our residents that come to the library for internet access, and a printer and a computer, but it isn't necessarily that they are low income. It's that there just isn't access at their house. So that was one of those numbers that I was very grateful for and have shown and talked to the commission about quite a bit, because they have the ability to advocate for more internet and better internet, as well as understanding that this is an important role for us in our area. So those are the things that I wanted to highlight. Does anybody have any questions? So Kara asked for me to go through what I was glad that we did and what I would have done differently. The window to take the survey was pretty, it was broader than the Montana Government Center was, it was at the widest end of what they were comfortable with. But I'm glad that they gave people time because we're travel slowly and we didn't want to leave anybody out. We got 207 survey responses, which I guess was very, very good. I wish that we had been even more proactive about advertising. I didn't have as many volunteers as I would have liked, but basically what we did was we plastered the north end of Jefferson County with big, huge QR signs and signs saying, fill out our survey. And that, is we're many subdivisions. So that is going from subdivision to subdivision, posting on their bulletin boards our posters. It's very labor intensive. We hit every major business. We had it in the school bulletins. So I think that was very helpful, but I wish we would have been more aggressive about that too. I think the Montana Local Government Council or Center was very smart about how they had our patrons or our community respond to the survey. Instead of letting them choose everything, they had to rank nearly every response. So they were only allowed to choose 3 of the 7 options or whatever, or they had to put the 7 options in order. And that, everybody wants everything, and that's not very helpful when you get the survey back. And so if they had to say, this is what matters most to us, that was, that came through in the results of the survey. I think the other thing that I should know by now, but I just don't think of, is that I put my efforts into getting the project done, and then I'm tired by the end, and I'm not as aggressive about sharing out what the survey results were. So I'm trying to go back to that and do social media posts. And, I did a little bit afterwards, but I wish I saw Alissa's infographic and thought, oh, that's fabulous. And maybe I will borrow that from her and figure out a way to adapt it to share out the survey results again, because that's their money. And then they know that we're listening to them and we're adapting our services based on their input. We're here to serve them. Okay, so if there are no questions, I am going to mute myself. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Carly. It looks like we have a lot of people in the chat who are interested in looking at your survey more closely. So thank you so much for sharing. And now we're going to turn it over to Alissa, and she's going to talk about how she's using and communicating library data for planning and evaluation and sharing the library's story.
Sounds good. Thank you, Kara. And Carly, that was very sweet. Thank you. I've got it as a template so we can share it out and other people can use it if you'd like. What I've been looking for, well, for some context, for a lot of years each year, as I'm sure many of you do, the Lewistown Public Library has gone to city and county commissions and presented on their performance over the last year and paired that with a funding request. And of course, we do that at the same time as every other department. There are a lot of departments. There's a lot of requests for money. So I was looking for something to condense that format into a one-pager that we could also hand out for patrons. So when I started, I designed this little, it was a front and back. There it is. Yes. At one point it was a front and back. Now it is just a front. Um, though not figuratively, to help summarize what we've been doing over the last year for our patrons and our funders in the community. So we have a pretty like fiscally conservative community that really values history and different options in education, right? Whether you're homeschooling or public schooling or doing anything like that. And that has historically had incredibly strong support for the library, which we're really lucky for. So what I do with this then is I go in and do kind of a lot of pictures, right? To catch some attention, but so that commissioners can go back and look at the impact we're having. So I like to lead with the value of our checkouts and how many items we have in our collections, or our visits, and how many people have participated in our programs. Computer uses and hotspot checkouts, as Carly was saying, those are really important things for our community. That's a really great thing to highlight for our rural community as well, the hotspot checkouts. Dolly Parton's Imagination Library, anything with a picture of Dolly on it will do fantastic on your social media, on your webpage, on anything. And then I just talk a little bit about some of our other services, and it just gives me a framework for talking about the number of patrons we have, some of our big projects for the year, what we've been doing over the course of the last, 12 months. And it's hard because I see I've gotten caught in this edition between an update. We're usually presenting a little before we get statistics for the end of June, so you can see that we actually had 53,800 visits, not 52,900. But yeah, it's been fun to look at how our visit numbers have changed year by year. That's that little graph at the bottom, to look at how much that's increased post-COVID and recovered. We're on, how many years is that? Like an 8-year visit high right now. And it's also fun to be able to talk about how we're expanding online access, especially for rural patrons in our community. So that's kind of what I do. I'm happy to pass this template along, or I think the state library might post it in the materials for Aspen so that people can see, can use it if you'd like to highlight whatever you'd like to do. Yes, my favorite statistic for a long time, before we removed patrons who'd been in the system too long from the system, is for quite a few years, I could go to the county commission meeting and go, okay, so you know how many people voted total in the election where you got into office? We have more patrons than everyone who voted. So I think contextualizing those numbers can be a really useful way to advocate for your services, and to ask for increased funding. So yeah, I'm happy to answer any questions or care if you have anything else you'd like me to talk about. And Blue Cloud Analytics, incredible. The state library's support to put together these numbers is fantastic. And I'd really recommend reaching out before you do your annual report to your local stakeholders about about what the state library team that works with Blue Cloud Analytics um, can help you pull for statistics to showcase the value of what you've been doing over the last year or several years or however that goes. Yeah, that's what I've got.
Thanks, Alyssa. It looks like we have a question from Austin in the chat. It says, I'm curious if this annual report that you present to your commission or council has helped you receive increased funding.
Yeah, so we have a remarkably diversified funding system. We have 12 separate sources of revenue for the library. Our primary source of revenue is the um, city, which pays for all of our personnel costs and our insurance and $5,000 a year for our building. So we have a written agreement with them that guarantees we get that money year by year. We also go in and request money from the county each year. That money we don't have an agreement for, which is something I think we should look at getting put into writing. But basically, that's a lump sum that we request more money for each year based on inflation and needs we're having. It covers a lot of our operational costs, but we have significant endowments that are set up to cover our book expenses through the interest they generate. So our materials purchases primarily come from that. What has helped to receive increased funding? Usually I put in 3 or 4 funding requests so that there are plenty of things to say no to, right? That has been a great bargaining tool with the county, going in and saying, I understand that you might not be able to give us more money, but if you cannot, can you please do our snow removal for us with your equipment that you use right across the street? Was a great way to get not actually snow removal, but more money. I think they decided they didn't want to deal with our sidewalks at all. So, that sort of stuff can be useful. And what we do with this is it gives our supporters a really great set of talking points. So, the commission has noted that, the county commission in particular, that when the library's budget is being discussed, more people show up than for other departments. And that's been a very good bargaining chip. The other thing that's referenced here just briefly, but that we really focused on in our last county commission presentation, is the value of our archives, especially our photos, and how we preserve our local history here. That's been a really wonderful way to demonstrate our value to the community when we ask for increased funding. Does that answer your question, Austin, or? Good, good, good.
Alyssa, when you share this data with, I'm going to assume mostly non-library people, what
Mhm.
surprises them the most, or what do they find most interesting? Like what inspires the most engagement when you're talking about all these different figures?
I think the most notable thing is that, a lot of what we get from people who aren't maybe regular library users is that libraries are no longer relevant. So it's a really fantastic way to showcase that things like our visits are trending upward well past pre-pandemic levels, right? That type of usage in our community is continuing to grow, even if there's the perception that books are going out of style. Um, the same thing with how many checkouts we have online, I think is a huge selling point. Like, I'm from a farming and ranching family, so I always talk about how my dad and my brothers like to use the Montana Library to Go to check out audiobooks and download them so they can listen in the tractor. And each year I get a lot of nasty grams from farmers and ranchers whose privilege has expired. It's like, we need to go out into the fields and we need you to renew our privilege so we can download our audiobooks. Why? Which I think is really sweet. So I think also it's really great to say that, you know, roughly 40% of our community is actively involved in the library through a library card, which is more than a lot of other services have people voluntarily engage with them, right? Talking about that can be fun. And Dolly Parton. We always bring an imagination library book too. That's a lot of free books for county families. And it's one of those fantastic programs where everyone gets the same benefit no matter where you live. Emily Wicks has a question. Did you have support from your trustees? In what context, Emily? I'm going to go ahead and assume that it's to present at city and county commissions. Um, oh, oh, let me see. Yes, we usually do have support from the Board of Trustees to present. And yeah, all of this data is stuff that we report on too for that's either pulled directly from Blue Cloud or it's what we use from Blue Cloud, the Montana History Portal, or it's what we use to fill out our public libraries survey. So all of this is just kind of in some ways a translation of that information that we're collecting regularly too. Yeah, for the state library and for IMLS beyond that, which is a great way to figure out where you're at and what you're doing. I will say, I think one of the challenges with this type of data collection, especially when you're moving in between directors, is that you want to make sure you keep really good documentation for how you're collecting and interpreting your statistics, right? Otherwise, things can get really wonky really fast. So I'd recommend putting in place, what I do is I just add notes to the fields in the Google spreadsheet. I keep track of our PLS data in, but what exactly you mean when you say visitors, or what exactly you mean when you say visits. So for example, we have a very old-fashioned patron counter that counts every time someone walks by it. And we only have one entrance and exit that's regularly used for the building. So what I had to do when I started is I looked at the data that had been collected about our monthly visits and from our patron counter on a day-to-day basis and realized that nobody had been having those statistics. So people weren't accounting for patrons walking by once coming into the building and by once going out of the building, which had really inflated some of our information too. So I just recommend keeping detailed notes on that sort of stuff in your succession planning and making sure you understand how the technology you're using to collect data works at a really high level so that you're not kind of putting in those preventable errors into your data collection for years to come, which I'm sure I've done. And it will be fun for whoever is here next, whenever that may be, to figure out why I did what I did. But yes. that's what I've got. Any other questions?
Sounds like you're keeping pretty good notes on your process, though, which will be really beneficial for people in the future. So I think that's a great tip.
Hopefully. Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And yes, let me know if you need anything in terms of the template or anything else. Thank you.
Thank you, Alissa. And yes, we'll be sure to post this, which I believe was made in Canva, correct? This lovely infographic, along with our other materials for this session.
Yes.
Thank
And
you.
a pro tip for Canva, if you haven't already, one of the first things I did when I got here is switch from the very expensive premium version to premium for nonprofits, which is entirely free. So if you have tax exempt status like you've requested for your hotspots, it's really easy to get that discount for hundreds and hundreds of dollars to do very fun stuff. Sorry, Kara, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's a great tip to share with people. Okay.
So we count it as a program, but we don't count it like the number of kids that came to our trunk.
Carly is addressing a question in the chat about whether we count participation in a town's trunk or treat event towards the statistical survey. So thanks, Carly. Yeah, Austin says we consider that more outreach than programming. Okay, well, I want to thank both of our presenters, and now I'm going to switch over to the State Library website to show you a few resources that we have to help support you with your planning and evaluation projects. And so I'm going to share my screen. Okay. First, I wanted to go back and review the roadmap outcome for planning and evaluation. Again, in our roadmap, we have the outcomes in two different formats. This is the Cairn format, and then we have the same information in a table format later on in the document, if you prefer that. And so the outcome that we are looking at today is that our community members receive library services sufficient unto their needs because the board and director make planning and evaluation a routine part of their work. And some of our suggested ways to meet this outcome, I think our presenters exemplified how we can fulfill these kind of projects towards meeting these outcomes. The library board and director identify community needs and trends in order to create a strategic plan for addressing these needs, and the plan is reviewed annually and updated as needed. And the library board and director use relevant data when planning, evaluating, and communicating about library services. The board and director work with other libraries on statewide initiatives that will improve services to all Montanans. And the board and director can succinctly communicate to the public about the library's long-range plan, specifically what is in the plan and progress on achieving the plan. Those are just a few suggested ways of meeting that outcome. There may be lots of different ways that you could work towards that outcome in your community, in your library, depending on your needs and your community's needs. And so I just wanted to touch on a few resources that we have to try to work towards this outcome. So we have a page on strategic planning. And we have put together some resources in a few different formats. We have the Strategic Planning Handbook, which is pretty comprehensive, and this will go through a planning process from a basic level to a potentially very involved level, involving lots of different focus groups and surveys. And depending on how much community input you are seeking and how large your community is, you may want to consider some of these different ways of gathering community input. Carly gave a great example today of a really robust survey that was very informative. And so definitely recommend a survey if nothing else. And then there's some other ways of getting some more in-depth qualitative data that can inform your plan. And then we have some sample strategic plans and work plans in this document. So that is on our website, Strategic Planning Handbook. Also on this page, we have a link to our MSL YouTube channel where we have a few different videos that are short bite-sized videos, usually under 15 minutes, on how to find community data, census data, a strategic planning overview for trustees, how to evaluate your plan. So several different videos on this topic of strategic planning. We also have, we also have a discussion guide. If you would like to share these videos with your board as part of your board training, you can use this discussion guide to kind of enrich your experience in watching this video series on strategic planning. And then finally on this page, we have access to the MSL Learn Written Plans course. And so this is a self-paced course that covers a lot of the same material that you'll find in the strategic planning videos and handbook that will go more in depth into helping reinforce some of those ideas on how to make a good strategic plan. So all of that is on our strategic planning resources page. We also have some resources to help you with evaluation. And I think that Alissa touched on this, and I was glad that she mentioned the annual report, because we have, courtesy of our data coordinator, Rebecca Camp, some really fabulous dashboards, which I'm sure all of you have seen in one context or another. But we have all of our public library survey data in this state snapshot dashboard. You can also go into this tab to look at your individual library. You can make comparisons. You can go back and look at previous years to analyze trends. Really rich data set here on the public library survey dashboard. And so that is a really good way to pull in data for your planning process and look at your trends and compare with other Montana libraries. And then finally, when it comes to sharing your library's story and the impacts that you have uncovered through your evaluation process, we have a handbook called Connecting with Local Government Officials, which is intended to help you think about how you can build those relationships with your local decision makers and to connect with them in a more authentic way that is focused on those shared values that you can identify through thinking through this process of relationship building. And in the appendix of this handbook, we have a logic model template, which can help you organize your work in terms of the inputs. What were the resources that were necessary to make this work happen? What did you actually do? What were the outputs? What were the short-term outcomes? Like, why did this matter? What was the change that resulted from this work? And then long-term outcomes or impacts, the larger kind of community level shifts or impacts that you're hoping to see from this work. So this can help you to tell a more compelling story that is more data informed and connected to the values that are important to your decision makers. And then, of course, you can always reach out to us at the Consulting and Learning team if you would like some one-on-one assistance with planning and evaluation, or you want to schedule a training for your board, or you just want to bounce some ideas off of somebody. We're always happy and available to talk to you. We love talking about planning, and we love to help you create a process that is right for your library and your community. So don't hesitate to reach out. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to talk more about this topic. And I'm checking the chat. Oh, I see that Colette has added all the links. Thank you, Colette. So that was all I had. Were there any other questions for either of our presenters or anything you'd like to know about our resources at the State Library, or anything that we don't currently have that you would like us to think about adding to these resources? Well, I think that's it. Hand it back to you, Colette.
Sounds good. And also, before we kind of wrap things up, if there are questions or if someone would like to unmute and ask a question of any of our panelists, we can definitely do that. Just ping me in the chat or raise your hand and we can address those lingering questions that you might have. So while you're thinking about what those questions might be, just wanted to remind you that you will receive credit for today's webinar. I'll be adding each of you your registrations to the event for today, so it should automatically show up on your CE credit list. And give me a couple hours just to check my work on that, and definitely ping me if you don't see that credit show up. But also the webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be posted later today, along with a summary of the information that was shared, some discussion questions that you might use, and then I'm also turning each of these webinars into a course in MSL Learn, which is our online course platform. So if you have staff members or other colleagues that you want to take advantage of this learning, you can always watch the recording, but if you want more context to what we've talked about today, I definitely recommend looking at the MSL Learn course version once it's posted, probably by the end of the day tomorrow. So think about that. Think about who you want to share this information with, and I'll also highlight this in an upcoming newsletter. As always, we appreciate hearing from you to get your feedback through our evaluation form. And we say this every time, we appreciate your comments, but I cannot tell you how important it is to us as we do our annual reporting to IMLS to be accountable for our funding, that your comments, your feedback is what helps us both understand how well we're doing, but also do that reporting ourselves. So it all rolls up into the decision makers and really helps us paint a picture, much in the way that Alissa and Carly have done in the information that they shared with us about how they use that evaluation data to do amazing things, to make some difficult decisions sometimes, to have that mirror that helps us understand how our services and programs are actually impacting the communities that we serve. So please do take a few moments. Your comments are so appreciated and just very, very worthwhile to all of us. As Kara was saying, reach out to any of us, in particular your consulting team. And as we get into the winter months, and I'm looking out my window right now and I see a mixture of rain and snow coming down in the North Helena Valley. This is the perfect time of year to take that time for self-reflection. Use the time when we're all kind of adjusting to the darkness with the time change and everything, to think about what we want to accomplish in the coming year. So with that, thank you so much. Look for those credits and the recording and the MSL Learn course in the next day or so, and just appreciate everybody's time and participation today.